Good morning everyone, welcome to Coed Crafnant Nature Reserve. My name's Rob, I manage this site for the North Wales Wildlife Trust. It's in the valley of Cwmbychan near Llanbedr in Gwynedd, and it's a fantastic ancient woodland. Today we're going to be moving the two ponies here, Pixie and Elan, into another part of the reserve. They've been doing a good job here since November, grazing to improve, have an effect on the habitat to benefit the rare mosses and lichens that are found here. Thanks to money from the Celtic Rainforest Life project, they've paid for this lovely pen, which you can see is a little bit large for Pixie and Elan, but hopefully in the future we might bring in some other ponies, for example Carnetho ponies, to graze in here a bit more. So this is a bit of a test at the moment. So today we're going to move them across and yeah, come for a walk with us.
We used pony nuts to tempt them into the pen. With their halters on, Rob and Helen set off to lead the ponies to their new grazing area. They lead them along this main waymarked footpath. The route of the path follows along the lower section of the woodland where it's more accessible. Here it goes alongside the stone wall, which is the boundary of the site, and is covered in this beautiful array of cushioning mosses.
So something else that the Life Project has paid for is this fencing work here, this grazing exclusion. So this is designed to keep the grazing animals out, so we can monitor the effect they're having on the wider habitat. So here we are at the gate between the two woods, Coed Crafnant and Coed Llanbedr, where we're going to be moving the ponies to. The Celtic Rainforest Life Project has paid for this installation. We had to be very careful with the rare lichens and mosses on the wall itself. And yeah, this is where they'll be going for their new home.
On the way to the other part of this site, the ponies needed to cross this little stream. As you can see, the ponies are a little bit wary of crossing this stream. They weren't used to this uneven terrain before they were brought here in November, so they've had quite an introduction to the rough terrain of the Celtic Rainforest.
Hi there, so yeah, I'm Eurig. I work for the North Wales Wildlife Trust as a assistant warden with Rob Booth, and we're out here today in Coed Crafnant, trying to restore some footpaths and make it easier for people to come through, and that can be varying from shifting stones around to rebuilding the stone walls without trying to make too much of a mess. And, yeah.
As this section was rather steep, we decided it would be safer to remove their halters and tempt them down with pony nuts. But there was one step that was rather intimidating for them.
Pixie! Hello! Come on! Nuts! Lovely nuts! Come on, Pixie! Bring up the front. Come on, girl! Come on! Good. Come on, then! Come on, then! Come on! Come on! Come on! really don't want to, do they?
Just thinking about it. If you go back a little bit to your right, yeah.
Come on in. Good girl. Pixie! Elan!
Pixie! Pixie! Come on!
With Ellen successfully down, Helen rounds up Pixie and gets her to the top of the steep section. Let's see if we can get her down too.
This way.
After numerous attempts, it was obvious it was not going to happen, so we decided to give it a break, as we had the tools on site, make some modifications to the path, and hopefully try again later on. In the meantime, join us for a little look round at some of the delights in the woodland. This big birch tree is home to some mosses and lichens. The lichens are two organisms living as one, a fungi and an alga. Lichens are found in three named growth forms. There's crustose, which looks a bit like it's been painted on. There's foliose, which looks a bit like a cornflake or a bit leafy. And then the third sort is fruticose, and they're the ones that look like hairy, just like these ones that look like long dangling armpit hair. On this large mossy oak tree, we found two different types of Liberian lichens. These large lobed lichens need a humid atmosphere and attach to slightly acidic bark, so they're only found in this special ancient woodland habitat. This fruticose lichen growing on this very wet rock is commonly known as black-eyed Susan. Can you see the black eyes? It is very rare outside Scotland, so it's a total delight to find it here.
So here we are on the edge of Coed Crafnant, the edge of the woodland, and just wanted to show you this special bird box. It's for redstarts. Most of the boxes that we've got in the woods are for pied flycatchers who need nice open habitat conditions in an open woodland, and redstarts tend to be on the edge of woodland. And we've got a really nice group of local volunteers who monitor the boxes in the spring, repair them in the autumn, and we've put these boxes up 4 or 5 years ago, and we've already had a few redstarts nesting inside them. So this is a special box, a redstart box. Just show you inside. So redstarts are a bit fussy. They like to fly in and have a little porch to fly into before they make their nest next door.
Here there's been very little grazing for many years, and there's too much scrub like bramble growing. This can shade out the rare lichens and mosses that grow on the crags and the trees, and this is why we want to introduce some grazing here to reduce the ground vegetation. We want to try and get a balance in the grazing to remove enough ground vegetation, but not so much that we prevent future tree growth.
So I've come across this big specimen of an oak tree, and you can see how the branches extend out, and the oak tree is quite unique in the way that it does this, managing to send those branches out quite horizontal, really spreading its canopy out, and it needs this space to be able to grow like this, all big and grand, almost like two trees in one, with the weight of this big trunk.
And as it sends those branches out, you can see it creates this habitat for the mosses and for the ferns here that just dangle, catch the wind and move quite lightly. Beautiful, isn't it?
Here are examples of oak trees that have young birch trees competing with them. The reason for this is that there was no grazing here at all about 25 years ago, and this allowed many birch trees to get away and grow at the same time. By now the birch trees are shading the trunks of the oak trees and the crags, which are the habitats of the rare lichens and mosses, and this is why we now need a better balance of grazing and to monitor the impact.
So having made improvements to the footpath, we decided to try again. We got one pony down. Could we get the second one down?
Sit on there. Sit. 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 Good girl. Good girl. You can do it. Come on. Right, go on. Come on. Oh, good girl. This way. Head in the bucket. Head in the bucket. Come on. Good girl. Come on.
Oh.
Let's go this way. Sit. Oh, come on. Definitely deserves some nuts for that.
All the treats afterwards.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on. Sit. Sit down there. Right down. There it is. Run back up that slope.
Follow down way up again.
It's nice to see Pixie and Elan grazing happily here, and it's thanks to the Celtic Rainforest Life project for the funding to help us start this grazing trial. In the future we will look into getting more ponies, and in particular ones that are used to this uneven terrain, perhaps Carneddau ponies.